Greetings ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to another World of Tanks video. This time we're going to have a couple of subscriber games in light tanks, kicking off here with Polestar in his Batchat 25T. But Chip, I hear you cry in unison. The Batchat 25T is a medium tank. Whilst, yes, that is technically true, that doesn't really stop it being the best tier 10 light tank in the game, let's be honest. So, Polestar is here on, well, it's a tier 10 match obviously, but it's 357 matchmaking. So there are a bunch of lower tier tanks for Polestar to shoot up, which is nice. He's also here on Prokhorovka, which is a really nice map for tanks like this. I mean, when I say that this is the best tier 10 light tank in the game, you have to bear in mind the tier 10 light tanks are generally considered a pretty sorry bunch. And the Batchat here has mobility that wouldn't be out of place on a light tank, with decent camo rating and whatnot, and good view range and all those things you'd usually associate with a light tank, and gets a 5-round, rather nasty 5-round 105mm autoloader, which packs more of a punch than the light tanks. So it's kind of, it's one of those where it makes you wonder what the point of light tanks is when the Batchat exists, but never mind. Anyway, so Polestar has managed to find the enemy Batchat and also an enemy IS-3 there. He doesn't really have many shots on the aforementioned IS-3, but he's able to make that one connect. 2 shells left in the magazine. We'll see what he is able to do with them. Gun depression is a little mediocre, but it's good enough to apparently make this work, and there we go. So this gun, it's pretty standard NATO 105mm gun, 390 alpha damage, 259 penetration, APCR ammunition, a standard heat as its premium ammo. The big difference being that, well, okay, one, it gets French gun handling. A lot of the French guns have pretty poor gun handling, usually because they're packing autoloaders, and 2, it has a 5-round autoloader, giving this thing, if I can get my words out, an average clip damage of 1950, which is pretty sweet. And when you compare that level of firepower with, well, any of the light tanks, yeah, it's not particularly pretty. Never mind. So far, Polestar's managed to get 1 magazine off, penetrating 4 out of the 5 of his shells. And now he's going to see what he can do with the second magazine. Bounces that second shot on the, I think that was a Tiger II. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Never mind. Some assistance damage on the Tiger as well. There we go, there's another shot into the poor guy. And Polestar's able to pick up the kill, so very nicely done. 1 shell left in the magazine, and Polestar goes for the reload. One of the big things you have to bear in mind with the Batchat is that it has a very limited ammunition capacity. You may have noticed Polestar started this game with 25 rounds of APCR and 5 rounds of heat ammunition. Yeah, so 30 rounds of ammunition. Yeah, it really makes it difficult, and you need to be very careful about which types of ammunition you choose. And this sort of 5 rounds of premium ammunition and the rest APCR is a relatively common loadout. Not the only one you see, but relatively common. That was a slightly dicey shot there against the tier 8 French heavy tank. I mean, his turret was very angled back, so it was going to be difficult to get damage in on the guy, but c'est la vie. Tries it again. This time he is successful, so it worked in the end, I guess. 3 rounds left in the magazine. That is enough to cause people a significant amount of pain and bother. That IS-3 has been a continual thorn in Polestar's side. It'd be really nice if anyone could finish that guy off. Polestar, well, I'm not sure I'd have taken that shot. Again, the Batchat has very limited ammo capacity. I do understand the desire to take it though, but now he doesn't have the clip damage to take out the enemy Batchat. Not that he'd want to drive up and over the ridge and do so, but he doesn't have the magazine damage to do it, so that's a bit problematic. Going for the reload regardless. just as a Borsig pops up, though it's not a tank that Polestar is in a position to really do anything about. And you know what happens to spotted Borsigs? They get quite rapidly unspotted by virtue of their death. Batchat 25T has silhouetted himself on the top of a ridgeline there, and well, yeah, that doesn't necessarily go particularly well for him. And there's also the tier 9 Batchat up there as well, the Batchat 25T AP. Now, unfortunately, Polestar's team is losing by 3 tanks, and also he's the only top tier tank left on his team, which is a bit unfortunate. The enemy tier 10 Batchat is dead, which is nice, but well, this is dicey, and yeah, that's a bad trade. Eventually, he does manage to take out the WZ, but he'd really rather not trade 500 of his hit points for the privilege. 3 rounds left in the magazine, and Polestar's going for a reload. You might wonder why, but it's clear here that Polestar has decided he needs to relocate, needs to be somewhere else. And so, that being the case, it makes sense to go for a reload. It's not as if he's expecting to be shooting anyone in the next, 40, 50 seconds or whatever. So a reload makes perfect sense. Relocating right to the other side of the map by the looks of it, and he's going to see what he can do from that position. Having a look at the enemy tanks. Oh dear. Another one bites the dust on the friendly team. There are a couple of guys who are on relatively low health, like that. Oh, that was lucky. Like that M4 that Polestar's just been able to execute. That was a very lucky shot against the guy, though I must admit, not really aimed at all. And that one was a little fortunate once more. Now, that Batchat 25 TAP is on full health. This is somewhat dicey, but between them, you'd expect Polestar and his friendly Batchat 25 TAP to be able to deal with this guy. And there we go. Tier 9 Batchat goes from one direction, Polestar goes from the other, and he is no more. Fantastic. So they've managed to even it up a little bit, and the friendly team is now only 2 tanks behind, though Polestar is down to 13 rounds of ammunition. And there goes the Type 59. Fabulous. And there's the enemy AMX 13105. Thankfully, he's a one-shot. Less thankfully, well, he exists. So we're going to try and see what we can do here. It'd be really nice if at least one person could get up into the sort of E6 region and get some crossfire going on. That would be nice. And that would probably manage to shut down this AMX 13105. And also, I mean, the Progetto, the T110E4, they'd also take a bit of a battering. Oh, what was that SU-101 doing? Well, this is a shame. It's down to the 2 Batchats now. Now, Polestar is loaded, which is good. But there are lots of bad guys, which is less good. And Polestar really doesn't want to be... Oh, hello. Really doesn't want to be rushed by multiple tanks at once, which looks like it may well happen. Sorry, I just got caught unawares by a surprise Ninja Kitty. And there goes the AMX 13105. 4 shots left in the magazine. Friendly base is unfortunately being captured, which kinda sucks. But we'll see what Polestar is able to do about this. So he's just taking the long route round. Oh, he got spotted for it, which is a bit of a shame. Would have been really nice if he could have got up into some of these bushes before being spotted and then been able to shoot the T110E4 in the flank. But c'est la vie, and oh dear, surprise! There's an ISU-152. There's 2 shots into him. There's the 3rd, and it's unfortunate it takes the 4th shot to kill him, though perhaps not hugely surprising, and he is done. Now you can see here that one of the things with the limited ammunition capacity is that Polestar is at some point going to have to load a not full magazine, which is a bit of a shame. And he's doing it now by loading those 3 APCR rounds into the mag. The friendly Batchat 25 TAP is able to get a reset off on the WZ-120, and Polestar is coming up. By the looks of it, he would really like to finish off some of these guys. I'd be tempted to shoot the E4 in the bum if that were an option. He's only got 3 rounds in the magazine anyway. But there we go. he puts the 3 into the Progetto 46, 5 shells remaining, and Polestar is once again reloading. Unfortunately, those 3 shells weren't able to pick up any kills, which is a bit unfortunate. 10 seconds left on the reload, 543 health remaining for Polestar here. He should be able to take 1 hit from the WZ, or 2 hits from the Progetto, not both. But the T110E4, well, unless he's like firing HE and doesn't penetrate, he's just going to be able to nuke Polestar, which is a bit unfortunate. So, WZ-120 has been spotted. And, of course, it doesn't penetrate the guy's armour. So that takes the second shell there to kill the WZ. 25 TAP has 4 shells left in his mag, and Polestar has 3. And these are Polestar's last 3 shells. When these are gone, that's it. And it's not as if he's been firing his shots willy-nilly or anything, it's just really limited ammunition capacity on the Batchat. Go figure. So, T110E4 looks like he has dropped down to the other side of the ridgeline, and the Progetto we know was a one-shot. Because Polestar left him a one-shot. So, there's that. What else can be done about these guys? Now, if... Oh, surprise Object 263, who appears to be AFK. So you can see that Polestar, having realised the guy's AFK, is not unloading any more shells into that Object 263. I was wondering where he'd gone, but unfortunately he spotted the Batchat, allowing the E4 to just wreck him, and now Polestar's in a really awkward situation. He does not have the ammunition to kill everybody left on the enemy team. Even if they were all one-shots, which they are not, we know the Object 263 is not, for example. Come on, even if they were all one-shots, Polestar still would not have the ammunition to kill them. He's only got the 2 shells, and there's 3 of them. I mean, it is not rocket science. And so here we go. Polestar is off, and you can see actually in chat there, he's saying to the other Batchat, don't stress, you did a good job. Did the best you could. But Polestar here appears to be going after the E4. Not a bad idea. High value target. He could just, I mean, to be fair, at this point, Polestar could just farm the damage on the AFK 263, but we know that the E4 is able to shoot anything spotted by the 263, or we know he was able to shoot anything spotted by the 263. So that makes this slightly awkward. So farming the damage on that 263 is perhaps not the best plan. In the end, after all, who knows? If at least Polestar could pick up 1 more kill, that would be a Radley Walters medal for him, which would be really, really nice. Oh, there's the E4. Both of these guys have too much health. So, without an ammo rack or a fire, alas, Polestar is not going to be able to get another kill. But he might be able to bore this out to a draw. The 263 appears to be AFK. And the E4... Oh, and the E4 pops over the ridge and executes Polestar's Batchat. Massive, massive shame there. Oh, let's have a look at the post-game stats for this one. Here we go then. That game actually ended up being enough for Polestar's ace tanker in the Batchat, along with Bruiser, Duelist, Fire for Effect, Top Gun for those 7 kills, and a tank sniper medal, which is none too shabby. 7,656 damage done, 7 kills, 861 base experience, but when you factor in courageous resistance and all of that jazz, that experience is going to go up to 1,336. Shout out should go there to the enemy T110E4. He managed 7,897 damage, 4 kills, just over 1,000, or just under 1,100 base experience, and by the looks of it, he really did carry his team. Although there were some good performances all round. WZ-120 had a good game. The M4A1 Revelorise had a good game, bearing in mind he was bottom tier. The Object 263 went AFK. And on the friendly team, both the Tier 9 Batchat and the Type 59 managed to put in pretty respectable performances. 29 shots fired, 27 hits, 23 pens for that damage count. Most of which was from close range. It's not often you say that when you have someone with the Tank Sniper award as well, but there we go. 4 hits received, they all penetrated. The Batchat does not have much in the way of armour. 7 enemy vehicles spotted, 12 damage, 7 destroyed, and over 2,500 assistance damage, 8.5 kilometres travelled. But with a premium account, Polestar was still able to make an 87,500 credit profit for that basically 14-minute match, which is very nicely done for him there. Just a shame that he wasn't able to secure the win. Here we go then with our second match, and this time we join My Name is Puffs, and he is driving the Sparpanzer 1C. This is a tank that's undergone a number of changes over the years. I remember when it first came out, and I first put a review up of this thing back in the day, but things are somewhat different these days. Puffs here, now I do not actually remember. I don't remember if this tank still gets the option of using a little 3-round autoloader, can't recall, but if it does, Puffs is not using it here. So he is using a gun with 158 pen, 220 alpha damage, it's a 90mm gun, and hello Mr. AMX 12T. I was about to say Batchat, I'm like, no, that's that's not a Batchat, you silly sausage. Gets 1 round into the AMX though, which isn't too shabby. But then when going back a bit, when I first reviewed this tank when it first came out, it was Tier 8. No, that's a lie. It was still Tier 7. Sorry, but it used to get Tier 8 matchmaking. I'll get my words right in a moment. Ah, silly, silly me. So things have changed a little bit since then. Nonetheless, so far, Puffs has not gotten off to the most dramatic start. I mean, matchmaking is with him. This is a Tier 7 match. He's in a Tier 7 tank, which is nice. But, again, not gotten off to the most amazing and dramatic start in the world. Quite Havoc can let slip the matchmaker of war, quite. So he's going to see what he can find. And one thing I should actually point out, by the way, Puffs clearly likes this tank, or no, let me rephrase. Puffs is clearly good in this tank because he has 3 marks of excellence in the damn thing. See those 9 white little rings on his barrel. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. Anyway, he's got 9 rings on it. He's just coming through into the centre here, into this, well, the Abbey region that the map is named after. And slams a shot into that LTG, who is probably realising that the position he's in is perhaps not as strong as he would have liked. Oh, just at the last minute he manages to back off. Although, Puffs just spots an Oni from literally across the map, which I find quite amusing, but there we go. Oh, hello Mr. LTG. Now the LTG has 2 marks of excellence. He's clearly no slouch in the tank, but Puffs is just making him look, well, a bit silly. And I remember actually showing a replay from Puffs on this same map some time ago in, I think it was the STA2, in which he just drove into the Abbey, dominated the whole area and racked up an obscene amount of damage. This is not quite the same sort of game, but it's still nice to see someone using this position effectively. Whenever I try and use it, things always go hideously wrong, so I don't know. Maybe it's just me, maybe I should try harder. Maybe I should stop being a scrub. These are all entirely plausible points. I will deny none of them. Right, well, the friendly team have lost the 1 and 2 lines, which is a bit of a problem because people like me would argue that they are among the, or that is among the most important locations on this map. But, c'est la vie. They're lost. Now, Puffs is in a position where he can do things about the people who are pushing through from that location. How easy it'll be for him, well, that's a slightly different story, but hey, if people are just going to drive out with their sides exposed, then cool. Targeting the M4, I assume to try and secure the kill and remove a gun from the game. That would make sense. Although you could argue flanking shots into the side of an Oni, that's a pretty valuable opportunity, but all the same. Yeah, unfortunately KV1S spots out Puffs there. Now Puffs actually switched to heat ammunition, sorry. presumably because he thought he was going to have to engage that Oni frontally. As it is, that is not the case. But he is making use of his heat ammunition here nonetheless, although he doesn't really need it against a T-34 85M, I shouldn't think, especially not from an elevated position. Now that KV-1S is unfortunately still around somewhere, so Puffs does need to be a little bit careful here. Takes out the M4 Sherman, which is nice, and hello, front of an Oni. Now with this premium ammunition loaded, Puff's penetration goes up to 210, which is not like astounding. It's about there or thereabouts for a tier 7 light tank premium ammo choice, to be fair, but it's still not absolutely amazing. Puff's just trying to spot these guys here. I should point out, by the way, the friendly team is down to 3 tanks, one of which is a tier 5 artillery piece. So, go figure. Puff's trying to get some spots on people, trying to do some damage here. Where have these guys gone? But it's being a little awkward to do. And not the Oni, the Panzer 1C here is definitely not a dedicated scout, if you will. I'd say as far as light tanks go, this one is more kind of a supporty tank, with a respectable little gun on it, able to rack up a reasonable amount of damage. I mean, alpha damage higher than a fair few tier 7 medium tanks, and some tier 7 heavy tanks, so there is that as well. And there's the T-150 and the Panzer 4H. They've managed to sneak around and deal with the friendly artillery. Having said that, with any luck, Puffs might be able to deal with them, but they are unfortunately not spotted. Oni has been spotted, however. Nice flanking shots there. Excellent. One more shot should finish this guy off. Puff switches to the high explosive ammunition in an attempt to try and secure this. And of course it doesn't do a single point of damage, so he switches to the heat ammunition because this guy really needs to die. And the shot just completely whiffs. This is being a little bit awkward, and there's the T-150. And there's the kill on the Oni. So with him dead, Puffs is now firing his last heat shell and then loading up the armor piercing once again. And the heat shell just takes the tracks off the T-150. And here you can see the wonders of firing high explosive anti-tank ammunition. This is not the most reliable ammo choice in the world. Having said that, these are relatively heavily armoured targets, and Puffs' AP doesn't have the highest penetration in the world. I mean, you're not going to challenge the front of an Oni with 160 odd pen, let's be honest. The other thing that's really giving Puffs problems here is the shell velocity on this gun, which is terrible. Let's not make any bones about that. This thing gets very, very sluggish shells. But he is still pouring down death and destruction with this 90mm gun onto these two in the hopes of being able to continually defend the base. Out of heat ammunition, 1 high explosive round left and 17 armor piercing shells. Side of the turret on a T-150, that was a massive mistake from him, and honestly, these guys should not be trying to cap at this point. It is clear that Puffs is in a position to challenge their capture attempt, and as a result, continuing to do so is a bit dumb. Hello, Mr. Panzer 4H. Well, at least you had the common sense to stop trying, it's just your timing was a little awkward. And again, the guy does have a howitzer, so Puffs does need to be careful about him. But Puffs is able to pick up the kill there as well, and this just leaves the 2 artillery and the T-34 85M on the enemy team. Looks like the Tiger P on the friendly team has done a pretty sterling job assaulting the enemy base as it stands. Although he has lost most of his health in the process and could probably do with a bit of a hand. GW Panther has been spotted. There's the T-34 85M as well, and Puffs is moving up to help out this Tiger P, who unfortunately gets nuked by artillery. So Puffs find himself outnumbered 3 versus 1 against the remaining 3 tanks on the enemy team. And there's a shell into the T-34 85M. Puffs can afford to take a shell or 2 from this guy if necessary, although obviously he'd rather not, and casually executes him without even bothering to look there. Now, thankfully the guy wasn't firing high explosive. The HE ammunition from that 85mm gun on the T-34 85M is quite nasty. Well, on all the T-34s, 85s, it is quite nasty, generally having 280 to 300 alpha damage. I believe the T-34-85M gets the same gun as the T-34-85, which would make it 300 alpha damage on the high explosive rounds. Trying to get some spots off on people. There's the Grilla, and unfortunately that wasn't quite enough to kill him. Still a high damage roll. Let's not forget that. So let's not feel too hard done by. But it is slightly frustrating that he didn't manage to roll literally 2 higher. Well, this position is a bit more awkward than Puffs would have liked it. Trying to find the shot on the GW Panther, but he doesn't quite have the gun depression to do this comfortably and safely. And of course, he does have to worry about the Grilla aiming a shot in on his position. 9 rounds of armor piercing left, which should be enough to close this game out. But you know how these things go sometimes. Does manage to squeeze a shot into that GW Panther, which is nice. Leaving that guy a 1 shot, along with the Grilla as well. 7 rounds of armor piercing left. Now, a penetrating hit from either of these artillery pieces can quite happily execute Puffs. And there you can see gun depression fail. But clearly the Grilla wasn't able to actually get any shots on Puffs, and the GW Panther is gone. And the Grilla now is probably thinking what he did to deserve this, and there we go, that is the game. Voila. There we go then, that is Puffs in his Sparpanzer 1C, picking up an ace tanker, duelist, fire for effect, bruiser, high caliber, top gun, defender, Pascucci's medal, and of course that Radley Walters medal. Very nicely done indeed. I imagine if you were to take a broom and shove it up Puffs' backside, he'd be able to sweep the floor while he was doing it too. 3,916 damage done, which is a lot for a tier 7, like a lot. 8 kills, 1,519 base experience. Commiserations to the enemy Panzer 4H. 1,500 damage and 4 kills in a tier 5 medium tank in a tier 7 match is a nice result for him. It's just a shame that the rest of his team didn't really live up to snuff, although the GW Panther did okay. And really the difference between those two teams was Puffs. If you have a look at the amount of damage done and things like that, across both teams, it was actually not too uneven, but, you know, 4k damage from Puffs. So, yeah, go figure. But it's okay because, you know, matches are always fixed at the beginning and you can never make a difference, right? Right? Well, about that. Anyway, 36 shots fired, 27 hits, 22 pens for that damage count. Most of which was actually from fairly close range. 2 hits received, 1 pen, 1 did not. Pretty sure that damaged his tracks though, so it wasn't as if his armour actually did anything. 1 hit received as splash, 6 enemy vehicles spotted, 11 damaged, 8 destroyed, 363 assistance damage, and 88 base defense points, 3.36 kilometers travelled. Now, Puffs did expend all of his premium ammunition there, so he did not make a profit on that game, especially as he's running a standard account. And whilst you could argue some of the premium ammunition that was fired was against targets that didn't really need it, yeah, that Oni was always going to be a problem, especially frontally without it. So there we go. And it's nice to actually finish this video on a win. So there we go. Thank you very much to both Polestar and to Puffs for providing these replays. Sorry it took a little while to get round to making a video of them. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, by all means feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel. And as ever, I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.